Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Walk and Talk with Josh. Daniel Parson here with me. Daniel, thanks for joining today.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you having me out to the Oxford College Farm, which we're going to learn about on today's Walk and Talk. Thrilled to be out here at Oxford, one of my favorite places, and really excited to have you as our guest today. You ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so Daniel, let's start by learning about you. Tell me about your background.
Well, I went to Clemson for biology, and it took me a semester to learn. Everybody else was going to med school, but I was interested in ecology and plants and all that. So interested in the environment translated to a job working at a farm in Dawsonville, Georgia after graduating. I went back to school for a master's in plant and environmental science. Lived in Atlanta, managed Gaia Gardens there, part of East Lake Commons co-housing.
Yeah.
Then with my wife, who got a job at PC, moved to Clinton, South Carolina.
Know it well.
Spent 5 years there running Parson Produce, which was on rented land. And then this opportunity came up. So about 10 years ago, I started full-time here at the Oxford College Farm.
Awesome.
I was hired to start the farm.
Very cool. So you were hired to start it. So tell us a little bit about the history of the kind of formation of the Oxford College Farm, and maybe as you're talking, tell us about how that's maybe developed over this 10-year period that you've been here.
Sure. So of course this land and all surrounding land was Muskogee land. They managed this land for a long time before Europeans came.
Yep.
And but more recently, this was purchased by Marshall and Fran Elliser around 1950.
Which many of our alums will know the Ellisers.
The one thing that was here when I got here was the house.
Yep.
And so everything else has grown up around that. And so an alumnus bought the property and gave it to the college.
Philanthropy at work, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Very important.
So an alum gave it to the university.
College, and in 2011 they had a feasibility study to see about starting the farm. And so I started in 2014. And since then, laid out the fields, got the barn built, and well drilled, and high tunnel installed, and everything's really grown from there. We've added a full-scale greenhouse, we've added 4 more high tunnels, and we're up to about 3 acres of production with some orchards and perennial areas, and we have a plant sale every year that includes native plants and vegetables and things like that. So it's grown quite a lot.
And the house, the Elliser house we're passing?
Yeah, and Marshall Elliser really built this house. It's built of fire brick because apparently he was involved in a fire at a previous institution, had to jump out of a 2nd-story window, and so he built a fireproof house.
Wow.
Except for the roof is wood.
Got it.
So, but yeah, it's an unusual structure.
Awesome. Great to have it here and great to have the farm. So farm here at Oxford about the last 10 years. How is this integrated into the curriculum from academic research standpoint with faculty and students? I'm assuming they use the farm.
Well, I think the students that get the best experience really are our farm worker students. Yep. So it's just a campus job for them, but over 2 years they learn the ropes. They plant, they care for plants, they harvest and do all that. But also students come down for classes. So I don't have any classes that I teach.
Right.
And we're part of the environmental science curriculum. So we have a lab that's 3 hours of every aspect of the farm kind of integrated for students. But then lots of other disciplines use the farm. We're about to have a Spanish class doing some vocab on the farm. We've had creative writing and involvement with economics. And so there are lots of disciplines. Every division has had at least one class come out to the farm for something.
That's incredible.
And so then the research you mentioned, we've hosted environmental science researchers from Atlanta here, lots of research from Oxford involving our students as well, and even some with UGA and other institutions. So
that's great.
We're a great farm site, for research. We don't do our own research, but we keep good records and we get everything planted on time. So yeah, it's really part of the curriculum, and love to have people come down from Atlanta as well. So students have come from Atlanta for that experience too. But definitely focused on our Oxford students.
So you and a team actually maintain the garden. So are
There's
there
5
others
of us, yeah.
Got it.
I have a field manager who manages everything from seed to harvest, and then a post-harvest manager who takes the crop from there all the way to sale. And you know, dining, of course, is our best customer, but we also do a CSA program, subscription box. People can pick that up in Atlanta or here in Oxford, and we do some farmers markets too.
That's incredible.
So all that goes back into the program to support it.
So dining, and I'm assuming you mean Emory Dining,
That's
is
right.
the #1 customer. So this farm actually helps feed the students.
That's
Tell me
right.
a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, right now lettuce is one of our biggest crops, and so we've got 100 pounds of lettuce that we're going to harvest tomorrow and prep, and it's going to go straight to the dining hall for Oxford students to eat. And some of it goes to the DCT as well, and the Emory Hospital on campus is one of our big customers. Yeah.
So DCT, Dobbs Common Table, for our alums who may not know that newer space for some of our alums.
They used to be the Duck.
Used to be the Duck, as well as the hospitals, which is terrific.
That's right.
So Dan, how do you decide what gets planted out here? I mean, how are those decisions made? What do you grow here?
People ask me that all the time, and the truth is, whatever we grew last year, that's where we start. So we've got a real head start on deciding what to grow.
Yeah.
But it's a combination. So we want to grow things that are profitable, hence the lettuce, and that we can sell a lot of. There's a lot of demand for things like that. But then we have this CSA program and markets, so we have a diversity. And you know, biodiversity is one of our themes overall, but diversity of crops is part of that. And so we grow some things like broccoli because we know our CSA members want to have it in the box.
Right.
But we don't grow a lot of it because it's not very profitable on the scale that we're working.
Yep.
So there's a lot that goes into those decisions, but it's got to be delicious, and we've got to be able to grow it well and sell it. So those are the main things.
Those are 3 good places to start.
And then things like right here, we have some apple trees, and we grow those. We'll get some apples, but mainly for interest. You know, teaching students about the genetics of apples, cultural significance of apples, and things like that. So a few things we grow for that reason.
That's awesome. Well, I would love to maybe pause here and go to a couple of sites so you can show us some of the crops, maybe some of your favorite places on the farm. How's that work?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do that.
All right.
All right, so here's one of our first stops. You call these high tunnels?
Right, so
pals?
High tunnels are really important to our farm because we can grow when the students are here. So January, February, March, it's really hard to get a sellable crop from outside because it's so cold.
Makes
but
sense.
Inside a high tunnel, the Swiss chard is growing beautifully, and it's been growing that way all winter. And so our students are here, we can harvest and supply, and then the tomatoes we have planted are the succession crop to that. So they'll be ready about a month earlier than the ones outside, and also they won't get rained on. Tomatoes get a lot of disease, and rain is one of the environmental conditions that encourages that disease. So yeah, so they're hugely important for us.
Got it. Do we want to head next door to the other?
Sure.
All right.
So like I mentioned, the lettuce is an important crop for us.
Yes.
And 100 pounds may sound like a lot of lettuce mix, but that's what they can use in about a week. So our best move is to have 100 pounds a week. So we have some that is ready to be harvested, some that is growing and will be ready soon, some that's just planted, and some that are seedlings. And so with those succession crops, we plant them early, mid, and late.
So you're phasing all that as part of the planting
right.
season.
There's a lot of timing that goes into it because they don't want 1,000 pounds of lettuce one day,
Right.
but they may be able to use that over the course of a semester. So.
Got it. So you said they can use 100 pounds a week.
Something like that.
In the dining hall,
it
right?
It may be more, but our students love it, and when we go to the dining hall, we recognize our own greens, and other people do too. So
That's
we
awesome.
get comments about it because it's different from the other stuff that they get. So
Yeah, no, that's incredible, especially to have it from here, really farm
That's right.
to table
Students
across
grew
the
it.
street.
I mean, students do everything except for run equipment. So,
Wow, it's incredible. All right, let's go one more spot.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, so romaine is a top seller. Leonardo is a radicchio. It's got like a bitter flavor that people love in their salads.
So is this all lettuce?
This is all lettuce. And so, you know, if you're interested in how we manage the farm, there are two things you got to know. One is crop rotation and the other is using cover crops. And so we have a field that's full of lettuce because lettuce gets certain diseases, and next year it won't be in field number 4, it'll be all the way down in field number 2, and then on to 1 and all around the farm. So that's crop rotation. And the other
Is that part of the health of the soil as well, or how does that play into this?
Definitely. So it reduces weeds or disease. Anything that attacks one crop is going to build up if you continue to plant that crop in the same place.
Yeah.
And then it allows us to really plan, and part of that planning is using cover crops. So cover crops are grown to support the growth of the other crops. So people know legumes supply nitrogen, grasses supply a lot of carbon material, which is great for soil health, and then they also are involved with pest management. And so that's what you see. You know, right now it's 1st of April. We're turning towards plowing everything up. And by June, every bit is plowed and planted. But back in January, everything was in cover crops. So we do some cover crops in the summer, but during the winter, it's all planted in cover crops. So right now we're mowing oats, clover, rye, and hairy vetch are the main ones that we use, yeah.
Man, that's incredible. Well, thank you for taking me to these additional sites as we walk around the property.
Sure.
I know that our alumni are going to be very interested in this. If you don't mind, I know there have been a couple articles and a website. We'll attach that to this so that people can learn more. And I'm certain, as you said, you welcome alums as they're out and about to come visit and come tour the farm.
We're right here, very close to I-20. Just pop on by.
Awesome.
Come see us.
Thank you so much for joining us for another Walk and Talk. Thrilled to have you out here at Oxford at the farm. And Daniel, thank you so much again. And we will look forward to seeing you on the next episode.